Introduction to the Boundary and Annexation Survey, or BAS-3, BAS Agreements. This video will provide information on the various BAS agreements the U.S. Census Bureau maintains with state and local governments. This includes the two types of state agreements maintained with state governments and consolidated BAS or CBAS agreements held at the county level. This video will also demonstrate how to find which governments participate in one of these agreements and how to establish a new agreement or join an existing agreement. The Census Bureau maintains state agreements with interested state governments where there are laws in place requiring local governments to report boundary changes to a designated state agency. These state agreements are beneficial since they allow the Census Bureau to coordinate the sharing of information and resources between the Census Bureau and state governments to collect boundary information for selected legally defined geographic areas. Through these agreements with state governments, the Census Bureau is able to reduce the duplication of effort among the various levels of government and to reduce the cost burden on individuals involved throughout all stages of BAS. There are two types of state agreements. Under the first type of agreement, through BAS, the state reports boundary changes for all incorporated places, minor civil divisions if applicable, and counties within its jurisdiction. Under the second type of agreement, the state provides the Census Bureau with a list of local governments within its jurisdiction that reported boundary changes to the state. The Census Bureau then uses this list to confirm and validate boundary changes local governments reported to BAS. The Census Bureau is working to establish new agreements with interested state governments. To be eligible for a state agreement, states must have laws in place requiring local governments to report all boundary changes to a designated state agency. Participants can find a summary of their state's laws at the provided link. This PDF is located on the BAS State Agreements page of the BAS website. If a state government is interested in establishing a state agreement, they should contact the Census Bureau. If a state government is interested in establishing a state agreement but does not have the appropriate laws in place, they should contact the Census Bureau for alternatives. Once a state agreement is established, the highest elected officials, or HEOs, of local governments within the agreement will continue to receive the annual BAS notification, which will include their state contacts information. However, the HEOs will no longer receive materials to update their boundaries. The Census Bureau also offers consolidated BAS, or CBAS agreements, to counties that are interested in submitting boundary changes on behalf of the governments within their jurisdiction. These CBAS agreements reduce time and cost burdens on local governments, reduce duplication of effort between local and county governments and the Census Bureau, and help to ensure collection of complete and accurate geographies through BAS. County governments often have more resources to respond to BAS using a digital response method, while many smaller governments may rely on paper maps or do not have the resources to respond. If a county government is interested in establishing a CBAS agreement, they should complete the CBAS agreement, or BAS-6 form, located on the Consolidated BAS or CBAS Agreements section of the BAS website. The CBAS agreement form records the governments that wish to be included in the county's consolidated BAS response. Not all governments within the county are required to participate in order to form a CBAS agreement. Alternatively, interested governments can contact the Census Bureau to assist with setting up a CBAS agreement. Local governments included in a CBAS agreement will no longer receive a BAS package each year. The HEO will continue to receive their annual BAS notification, which will include the county's CBAS contact information, but will not receive materials to update their boundaries. To determine whether a state participates in a BAS agreement with the Census Bureau, navigate to the BAS website. On the main page are sections for both state agreements and CBAS agreements. For state agreements, select the BAS State Agreements link. This page contains a map of all the states that are currently participating in a state agreement. To find an individual state's annexation reporting laws, scroll to the State Law Summary section, then select the link to the PDF titled List of State Annexation Reporting Laws. Keep in mind that all state governments interested in establishing a state agreement are required to have laws in place that require local jurisdictions to report boundary changes to a designated state agency. If an interested state government qualifies for a state agreement and is interested in establishing one, they should contact the Census Bureau at 301-763-1099 or email geo.bass@census.gov. If an interested state government does not qualify for a state agreement but is interested in establishing one, they should contact the Census Bureau for alternatives. To view information on CBAS agreements, return to the BAS homepage and select Consolidated BAS or CBAS Agreements. The participant should first make sure the county does not already participate in a CBAS agreement by opening and viewing the current Consolidated BAS Agreements Map PDF document. For more detailed information on a specific county's CBAS agreement, scroll to the bottom of the page and select the current Consolidated BAS Agreements Excel spreadsheet file. This opens an Excel spreadsheet with a list of all counties in a CBAS agreement. Use the filter function within Excel to show an individual state's CBAS agreements. Under each state name is a list of counties within that state that participate in a CBAS agreement. Under each individual county is a list of the local governments within their jurisdiction and whether or not the county responds to BAS for that local government. If a government is located within more than one county and not all of those counties participate in a CBAS agreement, the government will be responsible for the areas of their government that are located in the non-participating counties. If a participant finds their county currently participates in a CBAS agreement and their local government is interested in joining that agreement, they should email geo.bass@census.gov to request to join the existing agreement. If a county government does not currently participate in a CBAS agreement but is interested in establishing one, the participant should fill out the Consolidated BAS or BAS 6 form located on this page. In Section 1 of the form, provide the county BAS contact to whom the Census Bureau should send BAS materials and correspondence. In Section 2, provide a list of all governments within the county and note whether or not they would like to be included in the new CBAS agreement. Once complete, please email the form to geo.bass@census.gov, including CBAS in the subject line. For additional information and for BAS support, please contact the Census Bureau by phone toll-free at 1-800-972-5651 or by email at geo.bass@census.gov. Participants may also refer to the BAS website for resources.